Welcome back to the Tiger Cats pregame as presented by Journey Rewards on the Tiger Cats Audio Network. Just about 30 minutes from kickoff here at Tim Hortons Field, and the Tiger Cats and Roughriders take center stage. Friends, who says summer is always over? Set your own rules and secure your winter escape in the hottest Caribbean destinations with redtag.ca. With resorts selling out fast, now is the time to secure your spot on the beach. See the world your way with redtag.ca. Book now. Time for Speaking with the Enemy, presented by Red Tag, and hanging out with Andy and I is CKRM Radio Analyst Luc Mullander. Thanks for checking in, partner.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for the opportunity.
You know, I heard an opinion recently that the Saskatchewan Roughriders mentality should be centered on clinching a playoff spot and not focused on fighting for their playoff lives. What approach do you think the Riders are taking?
I think that for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, this is a huge opportunity, obviously, for both clubs. But if Saskatchewan wants to come out of here with a win, but more importantly, clinch that playoff and actually make an impact on the playoffs, they've really got to switch around the narrative that I think is leading them. And it seems like, you know, there are aspects of this team that is really me versus we. And I think that, you know, I've been a part of a lot of successful teams, so has Andy. And you guys know as well as I do that, you know, the more you're focused on team success, the more successful you'll be. So I think that the Saskatchewan Roughriders, there's a number of narratives going on, but again, I hope that they see the sense of urgency they need to approach this game with, because Hamilton's a very good football club.
The Hamilton last saw Saskatchewan in week 1, and it was in the standings, and what we see on TV is a much different team. The Riders started 4-1. Since then, 2-8 in the last 10. What has been going on? What's the difference in the start to now?
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders haven't been able to manufacture any turnovers, and that's a huge part of their game. This organization has been defensively navigated for the last 4 seasons, and with Anthony Lanier, the defensive tackle, who is still, I think, 3rd in pressures in the CFL, despite not playing for a lot of games. They haven't had him. He's been hurt. They had to release Garrett Marino due to the pressures that they were facing from a number of stakeholders. They just haven't been able to manufacture any pressure up the middle. And what it's done is it's really affected the defensive end's ability to get to the quarterback. And in turn, it's given more time for these quarterbacks to expose a secondary that is in man defense a lot, right? So I think that the number one thing here today is going to be the Saskatchewan Roughriders against a very good offensive line. I think that you guys are much improved since David Beard came to your organization. Seems like you're a lot more solidified up front now. They've got to do some work, and I really think that the success of today's game is going to be based on whether Miles Brown, DeMarcus Christmas, and Charbel DeBeer, the Canadian on our side, are able to get some push up in the middle. Because I look at Dane Evans and Cody Fajardo is essentially the same quarterback in this situation. Very sporadic, happy feet. They might see ghosts depending on where they think the pressure is coming from, struggle to adjust the launch points. So again, if we're able to manufacture some pressure up the middle, it'll really do some good for AC Leonard and Pete Robertson.
Well, you talk about turnovers and speaking about the quarterback, so Dane Evans has never beaten Saskatchewan. Cody has never lost to Hamilton, and he has thrown 0 interceptions against Hamilton. But the Riders as a whole were plus 10 in their first 9 games in the turnover ratio, and minus 11 since, and minus 9 in the last 3 games. What's been the difference there?
It's been pressure. They haven't been able to pressure the quarterback. QBs are able to make some reads. And again, you know, one of the things about the injury bug too, it's hit Saskatchewan periodically here this year. And when this team has been injured, especially in game, because of the way they travel heavy up front with linebackers and defensive linemen for special teams purposes. That really limits the secondary guys they bring. And when they have gotten injury issues during a game, they revert to zone defense. Shivers makes the game plan easy. He just says, okay, we're going to sit back and play zone. And that's been a huge challenge for the Saskatchewan Roughriders when they've been forced out of their initial strategy, which is a lot of man defense, different looks up front, different looks in terms of the 3-man and 4-man pressures. When they're not able to mix up those looks, it's exposed the team.
Well, pressure on the other side of the ball. Hamilton only has 6 sacks in their last 4 games.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan didn't give up a sack last game, but gave up 12 in the previous 2 before that. They got Dan Clark, their stud center back. Talk about that matchup between that offensive line that you think is much improved and underrated in Hamilton and the the other way around. Yeah.
No, I think that Dan Clark makes all the difference communication-wise, guys. Right? I think that's the big part, identifying where the sets of the defense need to be switched to. But the biggest piece, and not a lot of people are talking about this, is Cooper Richardson, the right tackle. He's a rookie. He's played really, really well coming out and getting his first opportunity over the last couple games. So Cooper Richardson's ability to alleviate some pressure problems that they have been having at the right tackle position, and Dan Clark coming back and getting everybody on the same page. I think that's been really important, and hopefully that they continue to do that today, because, again, you got Teddy Laurent and Micah Johnson and Mason Bennett, who's got 4 of the 6 sacks that you guys have had over the last couple games. I mean, I would expect them to challenge.
Is Dan okay? I mean, I remember him coming back last game and then kind of leaving as well, too. So is his health okay?
Dan's a hurting unit, man. He's a soldier. He's the typical Saskatchewan-based football player that is going to play through a lot of pain regardless, because he's really a guy that's putting himself out there for the team at this point.
Well, Bubba, I got a confession. This is speaking with the enemy, but Luc and I are pretty tight, pretty good friends, and we were out for dinner last night with another guy you might know, Luca Kanji. We played together in Sask and in Hamilton, so we reminiscent about the old times.
Yeah.
So. Speaking with the friends.
No, that's okay. It's hard. I mean, it's the equal amount of time that you spent in Regina as you will in Hamilton. So you get the bypass.
It's okay. We can be enemies for the next 3 hours.
Yeah.
All right. That's the way it goes here on this broadcast. And between this rivalry, because you know what, when you think about it, Ron Lancaster, you could go on and on, Ken Austin, about the linkage between the Tiger Cats and the Roughriders. So
great fan bases.
It really great fan bases, and certainly we expect a really good football game. Hey, folks, you've been listening to 620 CKRM, Luc Mullander from the Roughriders radio broadcast crew, and certainly this has been Speaking with the Enemy, presented by Red Tag. Hey, Luc, have a great game. Thanks for joining us.